Welcome back to Exehaven Harbour. Okay everybody, welcome back to the next episode of Exehaven Harbour. Now what we're going to do, and straight ahead of you, as you can see, if I get my hand in there, in this corner over here, I'm planning to have the Exehaven Harbour terminus station. I want to have at least 6 platforms, maybe 8, but I'm not sure whether I've quite got the space to do 8. And to be honest, I'm not sure if I've got quite the room to do 6. But what I'm going to do this morning is start planning it out. I'm going to get a little bit of track down, see how it looks, and we'll go from there. So I'll come back to you later when I have that sort of set up, and I'll talk to you about that then. Right, so we've got a little bit of track down, and we've got a full length train, which includes my longest, my longest engine, 8 Mark 1 coaches and a baggage van, which, I've included the baggage van because it is a harbour station. It is certainly helping me now determine what I can and what I can't do with the layout, and I was hoping to have 3 platforms on the left and 3 platforms on the right, obviously giving me a total of 6. Now the ones on the right were going to come out of the station and they were going to come straight round here, and they weren't actually going to physically be attached to the 3 tracks on the left. So in effect it gave the train somewhere to come in and go out, so it gave them somewhere to go. I think I can still do that, but if I just move the camera around to where all of my rolling stock is, and if can I get it down a little bit further? Right, I'm just going to move you a little bit there. So we come down, and where the lid to my rolling stock box was where Exehaven Town Station was going to be. Now, I think that might be just a little bit too tight to get that out of there. Although, no, it will be too tight because of the length of the train. I'll be having to curve the platform, or the tracks coming out of the platforms almost immediately. So I'll have a little look into that and we'll get there. But anyway, the whole purpose of this part of it was, sorry about that, was to get the length of the train and see how it fit in the space. Now there's a space to the left of the train which will be left for, there's going to be I'm going to make it myself, going to be a warehouse back seam, if you like, that's going to run almost the full length of that, I'm hoping. And then there'll be a road in front of that, and obviously then there's the platform to the station, and there'll be a wall between the platform and the road. And the road will run right around to the end and come right round the end and come to the front, which will be the access to the station entrance and to the harbour side for the passenger ships. What I'm probably going to do is add a little bit extra on the front of that to give me that little bit of extra room, but we'll sort that as we go. I have got a plan for the layout. It's very rough, but it does involve 4 tracks so that I can have 4 trains running. I don't know whether you remember if I said a month or 2 ago that I said, I quite like Graham Falston's layout because, I like seeing the trains running, but I'm really into building the scenery and the buildings. So that's what we're going to do. and on reasonably flat track so that everything runs round. There may be a slight incline here and there on the main line, but we'll see how that goes as we go. So that's where we're at. I'll come back to you a bit later once I've got all 6 tracks in. Now I don't know whether you can see down there, if I just zoom in a little bit, the orange kit down there, which I shall point to just there. I've got that from Westfield Wagon Works, which it helps you put the joiners on, the track joiners, and it has been quite useful. I've only done two joiners, but it's a lot less fiddly because the joiner goes into the front of the block. There's a little hole there which the joiner fits in, and then you've got actually something to hold off to push the joiner into the track, which is great because holding the joiner sometimes and just threading it onto the track can be quite fiddly, especially in N-gauge. It is very, very fiddly, and it's a helpful little tool, well worth it. I've also bought what they call the track pin mate. If I just get that into the camera, there it is, the track pin mate. This is a handy track laying accessory, and basically what that does, it sits on the track, you can probably see it there, and you can put your screw or your track pin in, and that's sort of like a little jig that holds it in place for you. It makes it much easier. So yeah, all good little bits of kit. Okay, so I'll come back to you in a while. Right, so my plan is not going to work. There just isn't the room. And to be fair, I wasn't sure whether there was going to be, because as I may have said, you may understand, you may not understand, the outward 3 tracks there would go out, come round, and basically you could sweep back into the inner 3 tracks, which are just, they're the curved ones. But that leaves me no room to get the loop of 4 tracks unless I raise it all up, and I'm not doing that again. This is going to be a simple, fairly flat layout. So, and this had always been in my mind, if this didn't work and I just needed to, like, obviously resort the room out, and then we could start looking at it again. I think what we're going to do, we're going to have four platforms, and they are just going to come straight out. The large double track mainline oval will join up with those. There will be a point where it will join up with the double track regional branch line. That'll probably be at Exehaven Station, Exehaven Town Station, not Exehaven Harbour, or it may be behind you now where Budley Regis will be. We'll see how that goes. It doesn't matter either really, but probably Exehaven Town Station would be better because that will be considered a kind of main station. So where the curved tracks are now, this one here will obviously go straight, and that will make the 4 platform station in there. We might even be able to get like another platform in, but we'll see. But part of my thought process was with storage in mind, because I'm not going underneath the storage now. That is too much of a pain. So yeah, the more tracks I had in there, the better. So from storage point of view, sorry for the gaps. That's me thinking about where I'm going with the conversation. So yeah, I'm not unhappy that hasn't worked. It would have been great if it did, but it's just not going to be possible. No, it won't be. It just won't be possible. I can't get the tracks round and through Exehaven with another sort of 2 sets of double tracks going through there. It'll just be too much. And I just want to keep it simple. So simple but good looking. So that's where we're going. We're going with a four platform terminus at Exehaven Harbour, which does give me loads of scope actually for the harbour down here. So I'm not unhappy with that either. I'm just so looking forward to getting some trains running again, to be honest. Now I've got the trains out of the box again this morning, or the engines and the coaches and stuff. It's got my juices flowing. Now I'm not quite sure how much longer I've got out here today. Hopefully another hour or two, and I can get to the point where I actually start thinking this is it. So yeah, I'm going to have another mullet over with a cup of tea, which I've got down there, and we'll carry on. Right, okay, so welcome back, and to this segment. Anyway, this is a few days later after you've last seen the last segment. So we've done a couple of jobs. The new boards have all been painted over. Just got some cheap paint from a shop called the Factory Shop, which is near where I live, and it's only, I think it was called Hessian, and it's chalk paint for furniture. I've been looking around for some cheap paint, and honestly, it's so far. Even in the bargain bin at B&Q, they still wanted 20 quid for the pots of paint that they had. So I didn't need that much paint. But anyway, this chalk paint was £1.50 a tin. I got 2 tins. I only needed 3/4. So anyway, what it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so moving on from that. So I am now planning out Exehaven Harbour station, and as you can see in front of you, there's 3 white paper strips, 1, 2, 3, which represent the platforms. There's a piece at the far end which will cut across, and the big square of paper there represents the station building, and I've got a kit in mind for that, and after going to see a local model railway show, there was a brilliant model railway called Warren Street, Engage, and they had all sorts of kits that they'd used on their layouts, and they'd used American, European, British, and what they'd done with the European and American kits, which I was really interested in, was that they anglicised them, and I shall be doing that. It is a European kit. I won't say anything about it yet, because I haven't actually bought it, and I may change my mind, but I think I love the look of it, and it just kind of reminds me a little bit of Dover. I think it was called Dover Marine in the end, or Dover Western Dock Station. In some respects, this station won't represent that, but the actual station building kind of has elements of that in there. So that's where I'm at. Obviously I've got a little bit of track down, and it's not dead straight, but it's just representing what I'm going to do. And I might have said it in a previous part of this video. Exehaven Harbour Station is primarily a glorified storage area. So I've got 5 tracks in there. So I'm quite happy with the way that looks. That gives me a little bit of room in front of the station as well to do a bit of a harbour scene. The ship that I plan to have in there will actually sit offset, so that will sit down in there, and the edge of the baseboard will represent the quayside edge. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. So that gives me an idea of how much room that I've got left to put a sort of maintenance area as such. I'm hoping to get my turntable in there. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work yet, because if I just twizzle you around a little bit, sorry for the jerkiness there, but the Exehaven, right, okay, I nearly had an accident there with the camera, with my iPad on the tripod. But anyway, where the steel ruler is, about that angle across the top of the table there, where's my hand, there it is, so that runs across at an angle. Let me move you back there a bit further, there we go, that goes right across there at an angle. That's where Exehaven Town Station will be. So that is going to be full length platform as well, the same as the harbour station. They represent, like I showed you in the last time, it's a full length train plus a baggage car plus the engine, my longest engine, which was the Western. That represents that length. So it's an 8 coach train, baggage car and the engine. And Exehaven Town Station will be very much the same. So, but that will come across at a jaunty angle, and I've got to work how that's going to get in there with all the tracks that I'm going to do. But it should be okay. The gap down there, there will be a building, there'll be a long sort of warehouse building that I'm going to scratch build right down there, just as a flat, if you like, a building flat along the back there, back seam building. I'm going to do that, and it leaves enough room for the road as well, so that should work out nicely. And I think that's kind of where I'm at there at the moment, so we'll leave it there. I'm going to have to do some editing on that last clip where the the iPad fell over, so yeah, so I'll come back to you in a bit and we'll see some more progress. Right, okay, so this is the start of the track planning. So in the background there, this is where the station is. The white sheets are the platforms and the station building, which will represent the size and the length. The 2 tracks, although I'm probably leading to one now at the front here, will be dockside, and they will be like embedded into sort of pavement as such. When we come around to doing that, which then we'll stick with the station at the back, the lines at the back, so that the station comes out, this is Exehaven Harbour Station, and then we come along and that all comes down to the 2, which will be this one and this one. These are the 2 main lines, and that will join up over there, and we'll call that Exehaven Harbour Junction, just here, and that will run to where the bridges are in the far distance there. So running back from there, so the 2 inside lines will be the let's call them suburban or regional lines. These 2 tracks here are the express lines, so, or the main lines, and this will run into Exehaven Town Station, which is here, and that's demarked by the 2 where's my hang on, the 2 platforms, the 2 white platforms there. Again, they're the right length for an 8 coach train with an engine and a baggage car, although there won't be that much of a baggage car, I wouldn't have thought there, but anyway, it doesn't matter, that's trivialities. And then we come around to here, and that's as far as I've got at the moment, and I'm just sort of working the tracks round to there. Going back to the harbour, that track comes from harbour side there, and runs, and it will run right round this track here, right round and through. Then here we have got 3 tracks. These will be coming into the outer track is the harbour side, this one here, this will be harbour, so the harbour goes right the way round as such, and then the 2 in the tracks are tracks that will go into the Exehaven Harbour warehouse, and that's yet to be worked out yet, but that is the beginnings of that. Like I say, this track here, that one there, will work its way along and then we'll come out and join up here with this track that comes out, which is the freight track into the harbour, and we'll obviously eventually run off into the distance. Now the four tracks, the two suburban tracks and the two mainline tracks will hopefully run down the front here, and we'll have, like I said before, like a homage to the Dawlish stretch of track. If I can't do that, only two tracks will go down there, and the other two will follow round and go right round the back. It just depends which two tracks that I can get there, really, because the whole idea of this time is to try and keep it on the flat, so the steam engines can run with 8 coaches, and we've got where the green mat is in the background. That will be where Budley Regis station is. That won't be quite so big as these other two. That'll probably be able to house a 6 coach, maybe 7 coach train, because that will be on the regional suburban line, local line. But yeah, so the planning's going okay. This is a little tight, but I think I can do it. I'm the inner curve there, running round there, is the 3rd radius, so I think I can get everything around that. So you know, it will become 4th radius and so on outwards. So yeah, that's not too bad. I've got to figure out a way of getting the 2 main lines just to cross over just before they come in the station. I'll try and do that either end. Sorry for the jerkiness there. And yeah, I think that'll work. I want to try and keep it as simple as possible. So I'll say not too many points, but already I'll get through all the points that I had. So you know, it's going to be quite a few, I guess, at the end of it all. So yeah, so it's coming on okay. I'm quite pleased with that. So again, they're a little bit tight coming out of the station over there, but I think we can work with that. That's not a problem. The 2 inner lines, again, like I say, the rural, suburban, regional, whatever we want to call them, they'll have the tightest curves, and that's a 3rd radius. I've just put 3rd radius tracks in here for now, just to give me sort of like a placeholder, if you like. Just so as I can see how it go, but I'll use flexi track for that bit. But the inner one will be the 3rd radius, and I can just work my way out with the flexi track. So yeah, that's what we've got. I'm happy with that. That's shaping up to kind of how I wanted it. 4 tracks, so that I can have 4 trains running at once. On one day, that will look fantastic. And hopefully not too far away, we can have them running round without the scenery. But that's the plan to start with, is to get all the track down, make sure it all works, and then I'll make a start probably over here at Exehaven Harbour station, and then we'll, with the scenery, and then we'll slowly work our way round and see how we go. Alright, so there probably won't be much more to this video now. Probably one more segment, show you how I got on with the Metcalfe kits, and that'll be it. Right, okay, so to finish up this episode, the cottages aren't quite finished. It has taken ages to get the roofs, well, both roofs, just right. Honestly, it's been worth the bother trying to get these cottages to look different to how the Metcalfe ones look. And I'm pleased with the outcome, but by golly, next time won't be going to quite so much effort with the roofs. The one on the right is the scale cast sort of plastic roof. It's great stuff, but I tell you what, cutting it out for this was and getting it absolutely accurate, because you have to, was very difficult. Obviously being engaged, you know, just a little bit out makes it just doesn't fit, or if you go too far it just looks ridiculous. I've still got to put the chimneys in, the gaps and the roofs, but really I guess all I've got to do now is weather it up and, you know, paint the roof on the right hand cottage, or the cottages,
and do the last bit of sort of titivation, if you like, where I finish off with some watercolour paint and just sort of get some of the white edges gone. But what a good outcome, and they're such lovely kits, like I say, Metcalfe, but they just all look the same, and it's nice to try and make them look a little bit different. I think my favourite out of the two is probably the one on the left, the sort of browny, sandstony kind of colour, but I like the one on the right because it actually does look a bit like the Metcalfe kit, although the brick is different by quite a bit, and of course the roof is different as well. The roof on the left, on the brownstone cottages, I won't be doing that again. I think I vowed to do that last time I've done it. I'll cut out strips and stuck them down. And to be honest, I mean, it does give them a little bit of texture, but if you just cut it out, if you just cut out a piece for the roof and stick it on, you're not going to notice. I mean, for heaven's sake, it's end gauge, and I think even from about a foot, you wouldn't know. You'd have to get in right up close to 6 inches, maybe even closer. But yeah, but that would save a lot of time and a lot of energy, to be honest, and I think that's what I'll be doing in the future, and it will still look pretty realistic, I've got to say. So that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Might be worth catching up with Mark Ireland's latest what's it called? I can't remember. Sorry, Mark. The Adventures of Piddle Folk. I think there's a few, let's say, Mickey takes of certain people, and we'll leave it there. Thanks ever so much. See you soon. Cheers.